All right, guys, so we are on the precipice of the college football playoff as it is Saturday afternoon. Crazy seeing an Orange Bowl that is getting filmed or getting played. It is technically getting filmed, I guess, like a movie, but it is getting played at the hour of 4 o'clock on a Saturday at 4 o'clock. Maybe the Orange Bowl in the past was played during the daytime. I don't remember an Orange Bowl played at 4 o'clock. I always thought it was in prime time. But, with the NFL, I guess, going on tomorrow or New Year's Eve, you can kind of understand it. I think maybe 6 o'clock New Year's Eve still would have been a nice time for the Orange Bowl, but it's here today. But we got the playoff, and let's talk about it. You have Jalen Milroe. You have Michigan Wolverines. The thing about Michigan that I wonder if this offense will be able to score on Alabama, because Alabama's defensive front, you have Dallas Turner. You have several really good players across that defensive line. So Michigan, they're a Blake Corrum, Donovan Edwards-centered offense where they like to run the ball first, and then they like to hit Loveland, the tight end, and Mccarthy is a complimentary quarterback in the highest sense, meaning that he makes big throws, but he isn't out here throwing the ball 35 to 40 times, and that's not a recipe for success. They want to be more run-heavy and then play action, pass it. And I wonder how patient they're going to be against Alabama. All the pressure in the game is actually on Michigan, and for the first time really like ever for Alabama in the college football playoff or in a championship game with Nick Saban, they are not one that is feeling the pressure. Because Alabama just a couple of years ago, if Mac Jones has won national championships, they've won, I think, 6 with Nick Saban as a coach, where Jim Harbaugh is trying to establish himself as one of the greats in college football. All right, he's trying to reach that level of a Dabo Swinney. All right, he's trying to get on that level where he's an arm's length away, still an arm's length away from a Kirby Smart. And if Michigan wins that title, he's going to be into the A1 club of coaches. But last year against TCU, Michigan was talking a lot of smack. They played an ugly game, pick sixes, lots of turnovers. Their defense gave up explosive plays, and they ended up losing to TCU, a team in which they definitely could have beaten last year in the playoff. So for Michigan, a ton of pressures on them. It's their third straight year in the playoff. Okay, where Alabama this year is a team that with Milroe starting his first year and with Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele, some new coordinators after the Texas game, after South Florida, after Ole Miss, people are like, this Bama team just doesn't really have it. But Bama's playing with house money, okay? I'm not going to say they're fortunate to be here, but that 4th and 31 play against Auburn is a fortunate play. And they have the talent. Their mindset is really good. They're playing loose. They're having fun. They're figuring it out, and they're surging, and they just beat Georgia. And they're improving and improving and improving. Where Michigan has had so much turmoil this year with Jim Harbaugh leaving the team, with the spying investigation in the Connor Stallions, the years probably, even though they beat Ohio State, it's been a fun year for Michigan, but it still probably felt like 3 or 4 years. You're battling the NCAA and all of that. It's a really tough matchup. And then I wonder, can Michigan's offense show up against Alabama? And then how successful will Michigan's defensive backs be against Isaiah Bond, be against Jermaine Burton, be against guys like even a Malik Benson, all right? Mcclellan, like how great. And then Milroe is just, I'm telling you guys that for a college football quarterback, even but really a college football quarterback, Milroe does have edges over J.J. McCarthy. This is still an ultra talented guy. Next year, when we look at the Heisman Trophy, he's going to be 5th in Heisman odds, all right, because he can throw the deep ball, but also his improv skills are exceptional. That shovel flick pass that he had against Georgia, their offense really goes sideline to sideline. And Milroe, his speed, they've embraced that Milroe is a playmaker at quarterback. He's a better playmaker than J.J. McCarthy. He's one of the best playmakers. He's probably the best playmaker as a quarterback in college football. I'd have to think about that again. I guess Jaden Daniels, but especially now, one of the best playmakers as a quarterback. And who's going to have the edge? I think Milroe can outperform J.J. McCarthy. I think all the pressure's on Michigan. I don't really believe that Michigan will bottle up the passing game of Alabama. Michigan has to win the game up front. They have to do a great job defensively of stuffing the run, but then on third and long is where Milroe has actually succeeded. They're going to have to, I don't know if they have the speed. I don't know if they have the athleticism to stay with Jalen Milroe. And then Michigan's offense, I don't think that they have the wide receivers to get open against Alabama as well. So I'm leaning Alabama, and I'm actually going to lean Alabama by about 10 or 13 points. I think Alabama scores 34 and Michigan scores 20. All right, so I believe that Alabama is in a great spot to win this game. And if Michigan's going to win, their defensive line's going to have to get to Milroe. They're going to have to get some turnovers, and their defense is going to have to play really crisp because I don't see Michigan's offense completely lighting them up. I just think Alabama's secondary. I think Nick Saban. I like Alabama in this spot. It's a pick 'em game, all right? If Michigan wins, it's a monumental win, beating an SEC, beating Alabama. All right, but if Michigan wins this game, then it's going to be the best chance that they're going to have in a national championship. So for Michigan, no matter what, you have everything you want. You have the toughness, you have the culture. Jim Harbaugh leaves, the program runs on itself. It's a great culture, it's a great team. Just because they're not going to beat Alabama, for Michigan standards, it's a failure, but they're in the 1%. Like, I give Jim Harbaugh credit. He's really established and built like a terrific college football team. The question is, are they going to win these two games? And that's the thing. You got 2 games left, and then JJ might go to the NFL because then he's a hero and he gets to walk out as a national champion. All right. And then suddenly him staring at the, at TCU and Georgia after the game, suddenly that can become part of the great story. So there's a part of me that wants to see Michigan in the Big Ten get one over an SEC to see the competitive balance. I think Michigan winning this national championship would be really good for the sport of college football. I know people hate Michigan, but Michigan's been a team that's been knocking on the door for a while, and it'll show you that teams in the North can still win these national championships. The only team that won, I think, a national title is Ohio State, and their wide receivers are from Florida, from the South primarily. They have talent that is just on a different level from an offensive standpoint than these Michigan teams, and then all Big Ten and teams up north. And I don't think that Michigan's receivers are not first-round wide receivers. All the other teams have better wide receivers than Michigan, and it's not even close. Washington and Texas, real quick, I think Washington wins. I think Washington has a great chance of winning the national title. I don't believe that Texas' secondary is going to keep up with Washington. Washington's underrated. I know they don't run the ball too well, and I know that on paper, it says that Dylan Johnson shouldn't have a lot of running room against Texas' defensive line. I just think that Washington's going to wear on them. And I love, in this spot, Michael Penix and Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer to dial up those big plays. And I think Washington's headspace is really good. They were doubted against Oregon. They're doubted again out of the 14 playoff. Michael Penix is a quarterback that's kind of just magic in these spots. And, you look at the guys who win, whether it's Burrow, it's Mac Jones, it's Cardale Jones, the quarterbacks that play the best in the playoffs that get hot and win, they have that magic sense of hitting those explosive level plays. Trevor Lawrence was that way when he won a title. Deshaun Watson. So I really see Michael Penix as being that good. Believe he would have gotten my Heisman vote. But Jaden Daniels was also great, so it's taking nothing away from him. But Washington is so good, and I think that Oregon was a sensational team, and Washington beat them twice. All right, so I got Washington, and then I got Alabama, and then in the final, I'm going to go actually Washington to win this whole thing over Alabama. So I'll put it that way. All righty, guys, we'll see what transpires, though. college football playoff, it's a good one. Alrighty, guys. Again, happy new year and take care.